For each ascendant and for each moon sign, there is a specific life path, which is why a person is born under those ascendants and moon signs. This life path will work regardless of the planetary positions, or more precisely, it is the blueprints which can be altered by the planetary positions, but not changed entirely. So, these blueprints can be used to predict. In fact, you can do an entire reading for a person based solely on the position of the ascendant or of the moon. And this reading will be 70% accurate regardless of what the planetary positions are in a person's chart. In fact, if you know your ascendant or your moon sign, then I'll give you a reading right now. Now, if the sign in question is your ascendant, then the reading will be about what is actually going on in your life, how your life looks, and how it unfolds. If it's the moon sign, then we're talking about how you yourself view your life and everything in it, but not necessarily how others perceive it. Let's begin with Aries. It's the first zodiac sign, so we might as well start with it. Most people who are born under an Aries ascendant or an Aries moon are very swift to action. They are very athletic and they are very headstrong. They are easily the first to get to a certain position. They love the competition, they love to be the first, but they are usually not good at anything that takes a long time. That's their weakness. In fact, when it comes to maintaining their position, they are too restless to do that. They must constantly move forwards. Otherwise, they don't feel complete. These people usually have a rather short stature and a slim body. They look as if they are marathon runners in terms of their physique. They are very slim, but very strong. And they are great at running, horse racing, etc. due to that physique. They are also good at other types of sports and can be car enthusiasts or otherwise adrenaline junkies. Now, if other planets are present in the ascendant or next to the moon, this will of course change the outcome, but these are the general outlines that will be correct for most Aries natives. For all Aries natives, the second house is Taurus. So, one is usually born into a rather wealthy or family with a lot of assets to its name. So, you will usually see bankers as relatives or stock brokers, etc. People who handle a lot of money or that have a lot of money in their accounts. In any case, the family will usually be female heavy, more females than males. And in most cases, the mother will have a rather thick build, very corpulent. They also value money and property a lot and are the ones to show off a nice car, a nice house, etc. They like to possess beautiful things and they value them a lot in others. When it comes to siblings, especially younger siblings, usually there's a lot of tension because it's the sign of Gemini ruled by Mercury and it's inimical to Mars, the ascendant lord. But at the same time, we see a lot of communication, a lot of friends around Aries natives, and we see a lot of interaction with them. Games, sports, etc. Debates even. Aries natives are also quite talkative. They like to say what's on their mind. When it comes to their house, it must be very comfortable and very homely. The complete opposite of what you would expect from an adrenaline junkie, because at the end of the day, when they try to relax, they want to feel comfortable and secure, as if in one's mother's arms. And the mother is usually very nurturing, very supportive, unless, of course, other planetary combinations intervene. Aries natives also tend to get a very high status education, Ivy League. They tend to get to the best schools and get the best teachers, and they are usually very proud of their education if they actually get to the point where they earn a degree. The children of Aries natives also tend to be very confident and very successful, but at the same time, they can be rather spoiled and narcissistic. When it comes to responsibilities, Aries natives are surprisingly good at being very methodical about handling their health, their debts, everything they consider to be under their responsibility. Everything they must do, they are very methodical in doing it. However, they also hate it completely. It stresses them out. So, the more responsibility an Aries native has, the less health he will have and the less comfortable he will feel. And another thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to health, Aries natives benefit a lot from physical exercise. In fact, the more physical exercise an Aries native gets, the more health he has. When it comes to any kind of relationship, be it a business partnership, a friendship, or even marriage, it's very important for for an Aries native to feel as if the partner is equal, to feel reciprocity. For example, if an Aries native does something for you, they expect the same thing in return. They expect to be equal in the partnership and for the partnership to be equal in terms of what they give is what they get. They are also drawn to people who are diplomats, especially when it comes to spouse selection. They prefer a more agreeable type than a competitive one. They are competitive enough themselves. They will just see a competitive person as an enemy. Aries natives tend to have a rather colorful sex life with a lot of ups and downs. There's also a very dark attitude towards anything occult. They don't like secrets, they are afraid of them. They also tend to get into trouble of their own making. Some things that they do before thinking that end up costing them a lot. But that's their own choices usually, not circumstantial issues, not natural disaster, for example. With Aries ascendants, they're usually responsible for their own mess. When it comes to the belief system of Aries natives, they tend to be very headstrong, very orthodox, and very straightforward. If they are born Christian, they will remain Christian. If they are born Muslim, they will remain Muslim. And almost nothing will tend to change their beliefs. Quite surprisingly, when it comes to the work that they do, they prefer it to be a routine or a very structured workplace with a lot of rules and regulations. For example, military, when they get orders, they follow them. If they give orders, they expect these orders to be followed to the T. They also like careers, long-term ones. They like everything where there is a hierarchical structure which is reliable and predictable. They like the bureaucracy. This might sound as a contradiction, but That is their nature. They want to be the ones initiating instead of the circumstances changing around them without their control. In fact, they cannot handle swift changes in their circumstances. Aries natives tend to find themselves at odds with older siblings. They simply don't understand each other. And when it comes to their social circles, they tend to be very different than the people that surround them. In fact, there's usually a clash between the personality of the Aries native and the personalities of those that surround him in everyday life. Aries natives are surprisingly imaginative, but at the same time, they don't tend to travel too much unless it's work related or short term. They don't do well outside of their homeland. In fact, it's recommended for Aries natives never to immigrate. They don't do well abroad. As funny as it seems, because again, they are the ones that constantly move forward, but they are very homely. They are mama's boys. They don't want to be away from the home and the family. If they must immigrate, it is better to do so with the entire family. They are also quite philanthropical. They can spend on religion, on the environment. They can donate to religious institutions, to environmental organizations, etc. They are very generous with their money. Even though they value the ability to accumulate it, they are not the ones that will hoard it or be miserly. Now, let's give you a few predictions with regards to how an Aries native life will unfold. Around the age of 15 or 16, they tend to go abroad on a trip or enroll in some either higher education facility or in religious education. They also tend to find a spiritual teacher during this time. Around the age of 21 or 22, Aries natives can either enroll in an educational facility, get a promotion or a new job, and or they can get the first child. Usually, the father also gets some kind of promotion or a change in their life. Around age 22 or 23, an Aries native will usually change residence and they can get a property or a car. Around age 24, an Aries native tends to get either a large sum of money, usually earned by himself, inherit something, or find new love, find a new relationship. If the Aries ascendant is not married at this point, this can be a trigger for marriage. Around the age of 28, there will be a huge shift in one's life, and an Aries native tends to become rather different both in personality at this point and in lifestyle. He might settle down, stop traveling or doing sports as much as before, and this is usually the time when they are finally getting their life together, achieving what they dreamed of, or at least starting to. Around the age of 32, they tend to find new friends, reconcile with siblings, especially younger siblings, and in general, they tend to calm down in terms of how they speak and their competitiveness. This is also a time when they should be very careful about health issues or debts. Do not get into debts at this point. Although, if you have debts, this might be the time when you can repay them and close that chapter in your life. Around the age of 35 and 36, the Aries natives tend to get either a promotion or a very lucrative career path. This is the time when they start to rise in life, and also a time when they can realize a lifelong dream. Some ambition that they had can be fulfilled at this point. Around the age of 42, Aries natives tend to get either a new friend circle, they meet new people, or they realize some goal they had for a very long time. Around the age of 47, they should be very careful about getting into accidents, and at the same time, they tend to lose a lifelong fear that they had, and several habits stop being as important as they were before. It's like closing a chapter, letting go of something you no longer need. I hope you found this information useful. If you want to learn more, please visit my website. And if you want to get a personal reading with far more details about yourself, then you are welcome to contact me on my Facebook page. You will find the links below. Thank you and good luck.